Hello, welcome to 9.9 Comics with Chris and Kyle.
Hello. Greetings.
I'm Chris.
I'm Kyle.
And he totally ruined the flow of this episode. No. So today we're going to be talking...
Start over, I'm kidding.
Today we're going to be talking about comics getting released January 24th, 2018. I'm going to start things off. And it looks like they're kind of in alphabetical. Not really. It breaks up in the second half. Anyways, starting off is Aftershock, Backways number 2. Backways number 1 we talked about. It sold out almost immediately in store. I had trouble getting hands on it. But it is a great comic, collectible, and it's a great run from Aftershock. Aftershock's been putting out a bunch of great titles. Not much else needs to be said. We've got some exciting new things out of DC, though. DC, it's just week after week they keep hitting us with bombs.
I'm super excited about the next one you're about to talk about.
So Raven, Daughter of Darkness number 1. That's right, Raven's getting her own run again.
That's my girl.
About freaking time. So I actually pulled up a summary for you guys today because that's how excited I am. I pull it up anyways, but in this all-new miniseries, Raven faces a new otherworldly menace that is all too grounded in reality. Plus, Raven's personal life is in an uproar as her mother and aunt struggle for the soul of a Titan. It's up to Baron Winters of the Night Force to intercede on her behalf as she embarks on an adventure called The Girls with the Anime Eyes. The Girls with the Anime Eyes.
The Girls with the Anime Eyes.
This is gonna be interesting.
That title just raises a lot of questions.
It does. I'm super excited for it, but I'm also like, what?
But the art, it looks great.
No, the cover, I saw the cover in the previews magazine.
And of course, I probably would have had it up about 30 seconds ago.
And it's amazing. Great artwork. Yes, that's my face. No. Next up out of DC, actually Vertigo, same difference. Imaginary Fiends number 3. I love the Imaginary Fiends run. I've purchased every issue. I haven't read issue 2 because I'm a slacker. No, I was sick with pneumonia. Give me a break.
Pneumonia.
Yeah, pneumonia. But Imaginary Fiends is a great run out of Vertigo. One of the key things of why you should pick up some of these DC Vertigo titles is a lot of the DC future writers and artists get their start in their smaller company, Vertigo Comics. Scott Snyder started with pieces in Vertigo and other places, and those become collectible because of his fame as he moved on in his career. Moving on from there, we also have Nightwing: The New Order number 6, the end of the run.
That means a trade soon, people, and I'll be able to
highly recommend
I have the number 1.
You all pick up the single issues.
Yes.
And pick up the trade. Because while the collectability is long-term, the implications that this run has had, similar to White Knight and the avenues that it explored, are groundbreaking in the sense of very easily could they make a decent movie series out of this story arc. And it probably would be better than what they're putting out now anyway. So
I think I've only read the first
Warner
2
Brothers,
issues of those.
make a movie out of this.
I think I've only read the first 2 issues of New Order, but it's really good. I skipped 3, and then after I skipped 3, I was on an accident. I was like, oh no, I'll just wait for the trade. Because it's only a 6-issue run. I mean, what am I going to do?
Yeah, so I highly recommend you pick those up. Definitely pick up the trade when it comes out, at least for the reading factor. You will not be disappointed. And then, moving on from DC, IDW, Gears of War, Rise of Rom, number 1.
Rom!
It's a Gears of War comic, so that's self-explanatory. Everybody loves Gears of War.
Let's explain what Gears of War is. Yeah, no, we're not doing it.
For those of you who don't know what Gears of War is, I suggest picking up an Xbox.
Or eyes and ears.
And playing through the games. It's got a great story arc. Totally worth playing through the games. Because of the story, obviously it's totally worth buying the comic, and because of its widespread popularity as a game series, there is collectible value as a comic book. Also coming out of IDW, Star Trek Discovery number 2. The show, while fans are not completely pleased with it, is doing well. Comic books tend to follow after television shows
thing
in
is,
that sense.
The thing that's wrong with that show is it's produced very well. The graphics, everything is down to the T, except for the fact that they don't follow any of the Star Trek guidelines.
Except for the movie ones, and that they're action-packed, enjoyable, and fun to watch. Not that the other ones aren't enjoyable or fun to watch.
Star Trek Discovery.
Yeah. And it's a great show.
I like it, but I'm gonna admit.
Yeah, I admit it doesn't follow any of the previous Star Trek television setups at all.
It's like, okay, so here's what Star Trek is. Okay.
Thanks for the backstory. We're gonna do our own thing.
We're going to burn that book and imagine what we think that we. But whatever.
So, but it's fun, and the show is doing well. So that leads to the comics doing well.
Still
and
a good show
in it. And then the last one I'm going to be talking about is American Mythology Productions Meteor Swarm #1.
I need to get, when I get a new computer, I'm going to put graphics in this thing so I can get better.
So the summary for this, while NASA warns of the potentially devastating consequences of a meteor storm closing in on the planet, it's the horrors that hide inside the falling debris that present the real danger. An unstoppable horde of terrifying space hornets has descended upon Earth, and they are going to eat their way through every living thing in their path. So the Zerg are coming to Earth.
When I first read that description, I had to reread it twice. I'm like, wait, so it's the apocalypse. But what is the apocalypse? Is it the meteor? No. It's the Hornets.
Yeah. So Earth, and they're going to eat their way through. This is the big screen drive-in grindhouse at its best. Devastating meteor impacts, diabolical alien hordes, and the only person with a chance to end the terror before Earth becomes a hive of swarming death. Meteor Swarm comes with 3 covers, main and parody by series artist Richard Bonk, and a special Infestation retailer incentive cover. I really would be interested in getting my hands on an Infestation cover. I'm sorry, this reads Zerg to me. I'm a huge StarCraft nerd from back in the day, and, gotta love the Hive.
Alright, moving on from there, we are getting into Marvel, and something pretty important coming out is Inhumans Judgment Day #1. I want to let you take just this one because you're an Inhumans guy.
Yeah, I love the Inhumans. It's one of the few Marvel comics I've kept up with was the Royals run. Inhumans Judgment Day is basically a continuation. It's coming out of the events of the Royals run. And so basically the Royals comic was about the royal family traveling through space to find the Primogen, since during the Inhumans vs. X-Men war, the Terrigen got destroyed. They find the Primogen, but the equivalent of it is when, what's-his-face, Prometheus stole fire from the gods to give to mankind. Well, the gods aren't happy about it, so they're coming to Earth to end their experiment and pass judgment on Inhumans and humans alike.
So pretty big deal.
Big apocalyptic type event. Huge deal. If it's done well, and Marvel's been on a good track, going to be a great run to start collecting, especially if you haven't been on the Inhumans train.
They have been. Speaking of a good track, Legion #1. We are getting another Legion comic. A mind-bending X-Men tale from the brains of Peter Milligan, X-Statix, Shade the Changing Man, and Wilfredo Torres, Moon Knight, Black Panther. David Haller, the son of Professor Charles Xavier, has always had trouble containing the multiple personalities in his mind, and with each personality comes a wild and dangerous mutant power. But now a terrifying new personality is threatening to absorb these powers and take over David's mind and body. In a desperate attempt to save himself, David seeks out help of a renowned young psychotherapist, Hannah Jones, to delve into his fractured mind and fight back this dark personality. But unknown to Legion, Dr. Jones brings her own demons with her.
That's exciting.
Yeah. Then moving on from there is my personal favorite, current personal favorite, Thanos #15. That's some Donny Cates material right there. The issue 13, issue 14 were hits. You can't find issue 13 anywhere. Good luck. And then issue 14, you open the first page and it's jaw-dropping. Then we have Marvel 2-in-1 #2. Number 1 flew off the shelves. That came out of nowhere. People were kind of like skeptical about it, but after they read it, they were like, this is what Marvel Legacy is supposed to be. So, getting into Image, we are going to start out with Redneck number 9. The new, like, I had the question after the first run, first 6 issues. I'm like, what the hell are they gonna do now after, like,
kicked out of town?
Yeah, like they're
spoiler alert.
Well, it's old. We're in the middle of a new storyline, dude.
Fair.
It's fine. You should have, if you haven't been reading Redneck and you're watching this show. I mean, well, new reader, sorry, or new listener, sorry, but for real, you guys. If you're not reading Redneck, come on. But Redneck number 9 is coming out. Regression.
I'm not caught up on it.
You should be.
I have all of them. I just don't read them.
Well, I mean, we give and take with us. We don't read all the same comics, so we can.
I also, some of my collectible comics I just keep in pristine condition.
You don't want to touch them. And then going into Regression, we have Regression number 6 coming out, and then another Warframe number 3, which leaves us with a comic called Dissonance. This is Dissonance number 1. This is a new comic by Image Comics. It's
almost no-brainer.
Yeah, it was almost a no-brainer. It's just, it doesn't seem like it's gonna really. It seems like a good read, just not really better than the no-brainer, which is still. It's just
it's
collectively,
so obvious it has to be in that spot.
It's hard not to do it, especially with the list that we've had, which isn't a bad list. It's just not as big as the. It's the biggest winner. Dissonance. In an alternate world where Earth is populated with powerful human spirit hybrids called Phantasmin, Folk, which is apparently a person's name, not a style of music, and Rosia Hervé, 2 siblings with opposing worldviews, are challenged to prove their worth and take up their parents' possessions in a devious group who secretly run the world. Meanwhile, Seraphim, a Phantasmin warrior guard, is sent to prevent a catastrophic event from affecting the Earth and its own universe. I really like the premise with that, especially taking up like arms of their parents' place. That's what I'm really interested in. It sounds like a hero's quest type of comic, which is why it almost made the no-brainer, but it just doesn't seem like one of those long-lasting.
And the cover art, while the art style is amazing, is a bit strange. It's not bad.
It's not bad.
Great.
It's just underwhelming.
Well, it's because
No,
of the.
that's
It's kind of weird because it's an example of the human spirit hybrids, and it's an interesting take on it, on a human spirit hybrid. It's a little strange.
So, with that said, it is time for the 9.9 no-brainer, Kyle. I'd never do that. I always say Chris after I do that. So that's a first. Key issue, guys, this episode. This week it is Doomsday Clock number 3. So excited for this, especially since Watchmen has been fresh in my mind. I read it just last month, I believe. And Doomsday Clock has been a hit, especially it's weird. Usually when you mess with a masterpiece from like 20 or 30 years ago and you redo it in a new light and you bring current characters into it, you usually mess it up. They didn't do that. They did it correctly, and it's a really, really, really good read. I mean, especially down to the paper, each issue of Doomsday Clock feels like a Watchmen comic.
It feels like that old newspaper.
Yeah, it's not
good.
the same exact. Because if you take out a Watchmen comic, it still feels a little different just because it's a different age. It's 30-year-old comic, but they do a very good job replicating one.
Jeff Johns watches The Watchmen.
The question we're done with the show. We don't do the show anymore, guys. The great question has been answered. But yes, Doomsday Clock number 3. You don't want to miss it, and that's why it was kind of hard not to do Dissidence over Doomsday Clock. Doomsday it's a 12 comic run, and also a Watchmen comic, and it's actually doing well. 3 out of 3, guys. But I guess you're wondering why these are here, and there's no particular reason. I just was on my way to shoot, and I was like, oh, what are the I'm just gonna grab the closest, best comics I can find, and literally like, in 2 seconds I came up with those. We got Dark Knight Returns issue 3, Batman and Robin, The Boy Wonder. If you're under the age of 18 or 17, do not read that.
The All-Star run.
Yeah,
is
All-Star
for
is for adults. And Batman Year 3, which is first appearance of Tim Drake. I actually really like this one. I picked this up a few weeks ago. Check that stuff out. First appearance of the most recent Robin.
Second
most recent. Well, because then we have this futureness, which this I don't even know what. How do we? I guess is that the last Robin who hasn't technically been born yet?
No, I mean, Damian is the most recent Robin.
Yeah, I always block Damian in my mind.
Because he's really just Bruce Wayne as a child.
And he's technically already dead, but they brought him back. But whatever. So
I mean,
Jason.
New 52.
Yeah, whatever. New 52. So confusing.
I mean, Batman traveled to Darkseid to bring him back, so.
Yeah, I'll give him that.
He traveled to the planet Apocalypse and, like, just the Bat family wrecked crap on Apocalypse to bring back Damian. It was dope. It was a dope run. New 52. Check it out.
New 52 is so great. It sucks that they failed it, but whatever.
But I think that's about it.
That's about it for this for today, guys. It's been a great episode.
It is. There's one day we really need to do a bloopers.
If I saved the footage.
Yeah, but he doesn't. So like
I don't have enough. Honestly, I don't have enough memory. Or else I would.
I'm gonna buy him a new memory stick.
Do it because I want one.
All right. Have a good night.